As long as you live, the heart of the zombie can never be broken.
Things will change, my friend. As heroes, we will return to Russia's embrace.
So imagine this. It's Friday night and you're alone. After grinding the rest of the campaign all night, the credits finally roll. It's now 2 a.m. in late November or December of 2008. After about a dozen or 2 dozen hours with this campaign, both myself and about 3 million other people had finished our journeys in World at War. Or, well, that's what we thought anyway. Let's roll that calendar back for a minute. It's 2008, and the internet is pretty much just a digital version of the Wild West. A lot of modern-day conveniences at this point are either in their infancy or not even in the conceptual stage of thought yet. The iPhone was only a year old. Google had acquired YouTube less than 2 years prior at this point, and YouTube was over a year away from increasing its video limit to 15 from 10. One of the larger channels at the time that is currently still active, Smosh, wouldn't end up hitting 1 million subscribers until August of 2009, almost a full year later. While the current most subscribed YouTuber today has almost 170 million. The most viewed video at the time, sitting at 80 million views, is now absolutely eclipsed by the current most viewed video, which has over 13 billion views. That's more than an eighth of the entire world population watching a single video. So what's the point of bringing all this up anyway?
Justice.
With the rapid expansion of the internet, someone from even 15 years ago would have a difficult time adjusting to modern society. It was a year where upwards of 10% of the US population still use dial-up internet. There are things that you just absolutely will not find unless you're actively looking for them in that day and age. While there are now dozens to even hundreds of defunct websites, there are several that still survive to this day that prove that Nacht was known about at launch. It's a rather common practice in the gaming space to hand out early review copies of games. While there are some mentions of zombies on a few video review sites prior to launch, there's certainly not much that's easily accessible today, whether on YouTube or any other location. And the question again returns, why is this important? It's important because there just can't ever be another experience like Nacht. The fact is that Zombies was actually hidden at launch. It was meant to be a surprise that was unlocked after beating the campaign for the very first time. A hidden ending, if you will. Pretty different than it is nowadays, at least. While there was knowledge of the mode prior to World at War's release date, news outlets at the time were comparably ineffective and, also as discussed earlier, even modern ways of spreading information were either still in their infancy or, comparably at least, niche to the juggernauts that we have today. At this point in time, we were several years removed from needing to rely on children telling their friends to check under the truck in Vermilion City. However, still quite a ways away from every single company in the world now having their own YouTube channel to drop trailers on. In other words, the modern day internet has made information so readily available that it's extremely difficult to be kept in the dark about any sort of new releases. It's no longer just that one jackass friend of yours, it's the entire world at this point. Unfortunately, long gone are the days where you can consume any form of media at your own leisure. Even a minimal amount of interest in a community can necessitate a mad dash to have to experience it for yourself rather than through others. This is something that would never happen back in 2008.
Snape kills Dumbledore!
Or, well, maybe not, but it was a lot harder back in the day. You'll just have to take my word for it. This was the intro that captured the attention of myself and so many others at the time. This was the intro that made my brother walk out of the room after seeing it for the first time. Unlike later entries in this series, Nacht is extremely quiet, hauntingly so in fact. This was an era where characters didn't have to constantly be giving you directions or shouting one-liners at you every other second.
Yeah, the power needs to be turned on.
Omega has already opened the portal. There is not much time.
I have no ammunition.
Find Agent Maxis. Recover any intel you can from the base.
How could I be running low on ammo?
Carpenter.
I can smell my own blood! Fear me!
The feeling of isolation and claustrophobia is lost on most of the later entries. In Nacht, there are no spoken words of dialogue, although you hear the bangs and creaks of a bunker that by some miracle is still standing upright, and the guttural moans and gurgling of the undead. Starting with the release of COD Zombies, Left 4 Dead, and their subsequent DLCs and sequel, along with the release of The Walking Dead in 2010, zombie mania would hit its full swing and a landslide of zombie media would begin releasing for years to come. In recent years, the trend has begun to wane, but there are still many releases to this day that prove zombies have now been ingrained into our culture. It's hard to pin it down exactly, because there were a lot of releases prior to World at War, but it's safe to say that it helped start the boom of 2010. I'd go as far as to say that it was World at War that started everything.